Okay, you're live on YouTube.
All right. So we want to welcome you to the March 9th meeting of the Litchfield Recreation Commission. We have 5 members present, 6 members present. So we have a quorum, so we were calling the meeting to order. All right, our first item of business is consideration of minutes of previous meetings. I know we don't have those yet, so we will talk about those. We can probably do both sets next meeting. All right, our third item, public input. So it doesn't look like we have anybody from the public, and we are expecting one other member or one person from our contractor coming in from Natticook, but and John, I'm correct, there's nobody lingering that I don't see from the public, correct?
Correct, I concur.
All right, so we will close our public input. Next item is facility and field requests. So we have the police 5K, 10K road race, which is set for September 25th.
Yeah, we never voted on that last meeting. Just to let everybody know, I cleared it with softball. They do not have anything going on that weekend. So the field is free.
All right.
I did let them know that, you know, our vote would probably be dependent on what the emergency management team came up with prior. I would say check in with them a month prior to the actual event, just to see what is going on with COVID.
Yeah, that makes, I mean, because they probably want something so they can at least start planning.
Exactly. He wanted some sort of commitment just to, you know, if he's going to have to do it, if he's going to do it here or have to look elsewhere.
And did we already get insurance and there's no need for a police detail, I would assume, since it's the police 5K.
He does have insurance. I will get that information from him.
All right, so I guess I'll make a motion to approve the use of Roy Memorial Park on 9/25 for the police and fire road 5K, pending proper insurance and clearance from the emergency management team.
I will second that motion.
Right, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. I'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Ruggles.
Aye.
Mr. Ames.
Aye.
Mr. Burns.
Aye.
Mr. Bosky.
Aye.
Mr. Gannon.
Aye.
And I vote aye. So the vote carries 6-0-0.
I will add that to the talent hall calendar or some calendar so that we know it's utilized.
And I'll reach out to Jake and let him know.
Excellent. And I see we have a 603, somebody calling in. Is that Ryan?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, good. I couldn't recognize the number, so because it gives us a little asterisk for anonymity, I guess. Your perfect timing, because we're on new business, which is the field maintenance contract. So you guys all, I know at the last meeting, you guys went over the initial contract or sent it to legal to have them edit, and Troy sent us the draft of the edited version. And basically what we need to do is go over this, see if we need to make any changes, and get this process going so that we can have a signed contract and Ryan can get to work. And
Well, Andy, we actually reviewed the original edit of the contract, and then we sent it to be approved. And Ryan came back with some edits that Troy then forwarded to us, and apparently they got sent back to legal in the meantime. We still need to discuss those edits.
Okay,
Which is the version we now have.
all right. So, but the most recent edits are in pink, or are those all the edits?
No, from what I understand from Troy's email is that Ryan sent over his initial edits. He then sent it to legal. Legal reviewed and got in touch with Ryan, and they have since ironed out any differences that they had. That's my understanding from reading Troy's email.
That's
Ryan,
incorrect.
Oh, that's incorrect?
We submitted our edit to Troy, and the first word we've received from them was 3 o'clock this afternoon, and it was the revision to Litchfield legal that all of us are looking at tonight. So this is the first time I've been able to get my eyes on it. With such short notice, our council hasn't had an opportunity to review this.
Right. Well, and honestly, Ryan, again, I agree with you. It was back at 3 o'clock, and that's really the first time we saw it come back from legal. We had thought we were discussing it tonight and then sending it to legal. But I think Troy went ahead and sent it in the meantime. So
that's right.
So basically, I guess my thought is what we can do is we can take a look at we've got the document in front of us. We can discuss what we want for edits, if there are any, and then if there are, if there are no edits, then our legal is all set with it. Obviously, Ryan, you need to send it to your team, but if there are edits, we need to send it to both, get the okays, and then we can move forward. So I know I have a couple of things I think that might present issues. Nothing major, but so I don't know how you guys want to do this. If you want to just do this page by page. The first page doesn't look like there's any edits. Pretty straightforward. Does anybody have anything they want to say about the first page?
no, Andy, I think you were right in the fact that the pink is the edits. So
Okay.
Everything else I think we already looked at. I think it's just that everything in pink is what we haven't discussed yet.
Yeah, so item 3 being communication.
All right. And now I know that there was concern, Steve, originally that it would sound like it would be a sole contact, but it's, I like the way they worded it, it's a primary contact. So basically Ryan doesn't have to, if we have one contact and that contact is not reachable, Ryan needs to be able to talk to somebody else. And obviously if we need to get a hold of Ryan, we can't, and we don't want to have to wait for that one person to get a hold of Ryan. It needs to be, there needs to be more lines of communication, but at least one primary contact person, that Ryan will have their contact info, that person will have Ryan's contact info, etc. So
Yeah, and along those lines, that also prevents 6 or 7 of us from all, trying to get a hold of Ryan at once as well. We have basically a liaison.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's in keeping with the past. I know for years John had done it, and then I thought you were doing it, Andy, last year, but I could be mistaken. But
and then Ryan, we're here. It says your designee. Obviously we would just need to know that ahead of time, so that if you're, and I guess for us and for you, that could change from time to time. Obviously, if we have members leave or members that are going to be away for an extended period of time, we would want to switch those people. So I guess my first concern is the weekly schedule of games, practices, uses. because it's an open field, and there are multiple people, multiple schools, organizations using it, we might not have an absolute accurate schedule to provide. Especially if there's rain, things get moved. And I know, I think, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, that the main purpose of this is just so that you can show up and get your work done, and there's not going to be two teams sitting out there in the field.
I mean, ultimately, what we want is to come together for 2021 and just essentially work together as a cohesive unit. It takes a village, especially as the population of this town continues to increase. We don't expect, to hold anyone accountable for every human being that's on the fields, but we do expect to have some communication relative to our rec, baseball, softball, basketball, not basketball, but soccer, what have you. Last year we made multiple attempts to reach out to heads of these departments to no avail. So,
what do you mean by heads of these? You're talking about the different leagues?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess my thought, to make things a little simpler, because some of the schools, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, CHS or Tabernacle or LNS may get to the field as early as 2:00, correct?
Well, usually, yeah. Well, you know what I mean. And let's put it this way: it's in the fall. Soccer from both the middle school and Tabernacle can get to the. I mean, 2:00 might be a little early, but they're usually there by 2:30. Well, Tabernacle could be like 2:15-ish, but like middle school's 2:30, and that can be, Dara. That's usually Dara or Innis during the year. But I don't know how they're going to request it. And then in the spring, you have softball from the middle school that's going to, go down at Dara, or even the high school. I know the JV team has gone there the last couple of years, and they're usually there by 2:30. So in both seasons, fields are going to be starting to be used, between 2 and 2:30. I'd say 2:30 is on the later side. 2 would be a safe, compromise in case, a Tabernacle does get down there early, or, you have a high school JV game where those teams sometimes come from a long way and show up earlier than, they're supposed to get there.
So Ryan, how would you feel if we did something in the lines of, basically, if, because weekends obviously is going to be used from dawn to dusk. Weekdays are what we're looking at. So basically, I mean, we can, our contact, I have no problem with us trying to get you a schedule so you kind of know the usage a little bit. But the big thing I would want is, if we have anything before 2 p.m. happening on a weekday, that we would let you know. That way you can pretty much plan on, hey, up until 2:00, we're fine, and we'll let these organizations know. Andy's working on getting, a little opening the communication and getting the contacts up to date, and basically have them let us know ahead of time. Hey, if you're going to be there before 2 p.m., you got to let us know, because there might be maintenance going on.
Yeah, and as a side note, we're flexible, especially on the fields where we've got some acreage to work with. And, all we really ask and expect is people just to exercise common sense in the case of caution, in that if we're there, and we will approach coaches or parents and let them know what we've got going on. And if they can just give us a little bit of leeway in the event that there is a slight conflict, again, it just all comes down to working together and understanding that we're there for them. And the reason why we're there is because, we have the fields for them. So there's got to be a little bit of back and forth. So, I'm not going to hold the town to 7 to 3 o'clock. but it's more or less just, if we've got 1/5 of a field left to cut and the coach doesn't want to, for unexplained reasons, wants to play right where we need to work, that creates a problem. And it's more or less in the sense of safety.
Yeah. But again, I think we'd be looking more at 2 o'clock because you are going to have a lot of youth starting at 2 o'clock.
Yep, and that's fine. We can make sure that we work around that.
Is something Andy Ruggles and I have been talking about is trying to establish some kind of calendar for each field where we truly have an idea of who's on the field at what time. And one of the whole reasons is so that the vendors can get out there and do some maintenance on the field, or if somebody wants to know, is the field open at this point in time? In my business, we call it a common maintenance window. I work in IT, and allows us a specific set time and date to get and do our work. We know we're going to take that offline, and that's what we pretty much, I think, we need to do also with the field. So Ryan and company can go out there and they know between a certain time. And then we could tell the other teams and the other coaches that they have to let us know when they're going to be on the fields, how long they're going to be on the field, so we can truly have a schedule instead of guessing. Is the field available? Does Ryan have to accommodate? Do we have to accommodate? If we could, come up with a calendar where we know exactly what's going on with each field, I think would be very beneficial to all of us.
And I mean, that will work with the organized groups, but if there's a play group that wants to go down, the fields are wide open. They're public. It's a public park. I would hope that they would have enough common sense to see, they're cutting the grass. Let's stay away from where they're cutting the grass. Unfortunately, we live in
If we
a day
make these calendars public, they should be able to review and say, they're cutting the grass on this field at this specific time. It's not.
Steve, you are taking a massive leap that people are going to look at a calendar before they decide to go to a field when they're dragging 2 kids down there or something.
This is true. This is true.
I think the usage during the day isn't honestly, I think that the one-offs aren't the problem. If people are using a corner, then they're going to use a corner, and they're going to move if they see something big coming. I don't think that's I don't think that's really the windows we're talking about. We're talking about the windows of the main usage of these fields. For the youth organizations, we're talking, say 4:30 to 8 o'clock. Monday through Friday, and then you're talking about legitimately all day, both days.
Saturday,
and then for schools, if schools are going to use it, they're going to show up somewhere between 2 and 2:30 and stay till 5 or 5:30. You know what I mean? So that those are the windows of usage of the field when they're regularly being used. And that's why I think when Andy's saying that 7 to 2 time frame is real during the week is really there shouldn't be, there's almost no one there unless it's a vacation. And in those cases, yes, we're going to say, okay, vacation weeks, holidays, we need to know what's happening. We need a specific, if someone wants to be on the field, they have to ask. It's not a matter of, we can just go use the field. Or a league can just schedule it. Someone should have to ask, you have to come to us and say, we're going to be on the field at this time. Is this okay? And then we can pass that along. But we as a rec commission have to send that out to all the leagues, say, something, during these we understand high usage during these windows. However, during holiday, if you want to use the field at any point, Monday through Friday, between 7 and 2:30, we need to know. And that includes any volunteer work, because I know in Ryan's original draft, he had said field lining and maintenance spot, field raking and things like that. That's one of those things where a lot of that stuff is unscheduled. A lot of that's a couple volunteers are well, we have this day free, or heck, you just should. You're the one responsible for doing it that day, and you're okay, I have time this week on Thursday randomly. You're going to show up. But if we tell people that, okay, you can show up, however, if you want to do it on a random time during the morning before 2 o'clock, then you have to let us know a certain number of days beforehand.
Or not even that, Mike. I think we can let them know they need to let us know ahead of time or if there's something going on, you're going to have to come back. You know,
Right, right.
if
Yeah.
because I don't want to say, if they cut Sawmill on Tuesday and they're not doing anything for the rest of the week, just somebody shows up on Wednesday to line the field. That's great. And I mean, I think it would be good to coordinate it too, because if they know when the grass is going to be cut, obviously you want to line it right after it's cut. You don't want to be lining it before it gets cut.
A real good
So-
example of this from our end is last year when they started lining the fields at Sawmill. Because of a lack of communication, we arrive on site to treat for broadleaf, and it's very difficult to spray a field when you've got gentleman and his son pulling tape all over the place. And I mean, we worked around them, but that's the thing, is that it probably added another 3 hours of labor to a job that we didn't anticipate.
I mean, would it make, Ryan, do you know ahead of time, like your general, like, I know it completely depends on weather and stuff like that. But maybe if we do know that you're going to be doing a major application such as the broadleaf or something like that, we can, once we have our contact list updated, we send a blast out to all the groups and say, hey, look, tomorrow he's going to be doing this. Stay off the fields,
Absolutely. I have no problem with that. I'd actually encourage it.
I mean, it just makes sense from a safety standpoint as well. It just.
And if I have a primary point of contact, I can get that to that individual, and from there they blast it to whomever. Rather than trying to chase down heads of leagues and.
Correct. Yeah. Really, we should have all that information and just be able to send an email blast. Tomorrow is such and such an application. Please stay off the fields. So makes sense.
I mean, I think if Steve is able to put together the calendars for the individual fields, I think that would solve a lot of the problems, just because we can put, if you're going to be treating something on Tuesday, June 7th, we can put it on there so that and let those organizations know. And it sort of will help you plan it, Ryan, too. If you know, hey, you know what, Monday there's nobody even there in the afternoon. This is a great day to put this down, because then nobody's going to be there at least no teams are going to be on it in the afternoon. So you can sort of plan around that, and just let teams know if you're going to vary from anything that you've already planned that's on the calendar.
Right.
You
As
can't
long
plan.
as I need you guys to have an understanding too that oftentimes I'll target, say, next Tuesday to make an application and the weather looks favorable, but then it changes. There's certain things we're putting out where, if the wind is gusting higher than 15 miles an hour, we can't do it. If it's something that needs to go down in dry weather and it becomes inclement, we can't do it, and vice versa. So in those instances, we don't want anybody to get upset if we said we were going to do it and then we couldn't because of weather. And then, we've obviously got to reschedule it. And if and when we do have to do that, we will communicate it to you as soon as possible.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, that's well within. You can't deal with. I mean, you're in a business where the weather is friend and foe. So you know what I mean. It's
Right.
To have to plan around it. I mean, if something comes up, it comes up. You can't do anything about it. If we don't understand that and someone else doesn't understand that, then there's probably no talking to them about that at all. So.
All right. So are we good with this wording, or do we need to change this? I mean,
I thought the wording, I think what we just laid out there is kind of a process. It's more policy, not in the contract. So I think that's fine. And then, of course, Ryan needs a chance to review it with his team.
right.
I'm fine with the language as it is.
I'm just thinking with the wording the way it is, you know, if,
I mean, honestly, I think realistically, we should change the wording a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
and it can be like saying, again, the time generally between, I don't know if we want to say 3. I mean, if we want to say 2:30 even, like, I just don't want to go into a point where there will be a constant back and forth of like, okay, teams are showing up at 2 and Ryan's running a little late, and therefore, I don't want it to be in the contract that, it can't be. You can't have teams there already before 3. 1, 2. The other thing is that, do we need providing a weekly schedule of games, practices, other uses, like providing it every week? Like if we provided general usage of after 5, blah blah blah, and then we say, we will provide a weekly schedule of anything between the times designated as the main times the services were provided. Is that a better way to contain the information that we're passing off? Because again, we want the information back and forth, but like to put in a contract that we're beholden to give a schedule every day by Friday at 4:00 for the upcoming week, maybe overkill. Do you know what I mean? And if we go along, if we ratchet it back a little bit, and then we go along and the primary contact, be it Andrew or whoever else, and Ryan realize that there needs to be more of a schedule given back into give and take, then we do it as we go along. But I don't think we can't to say if we put it in the contract, then we have to do it every week, even if it's the same schedule every week, which I don't know if that is needed.
One thing I think that we should probably all kind of consider too is that this is new. This whole contract is new for you guys, for the town of Litchfield. It's new for us in working with you, and this might be something that is going to take a little time to iron out and really feel it out. And who's to say that you can't adjust it year to year? And we understand that going into it. It goes back to what I said when we first started. We want to work with you and make this as seamless as possible. And in the future, if you have another contractor, they might not be that willing to work with you on something like this. So, what we're trying to establish, it's not. I understand, and I'm sure everybody in the room understands. It's not just for Natticook. It's for everybody moving forward and trying to make everything work a little bit easier for everyone involved.
so how does this, so I'm looking at, let's see, why can't I speak? So I'm thinking of changing, if we go and say the town representative will be responsible for providing Natticook a weekly schedule of any scheduled events or repairs of the athletic fields or recreation areas that occur before 2 p.m. on any weekday.
I think that's reasonable.
I'm fine with it. And, the other thing, like Mike mentioned, a lot of times you guys are off the field between 5:30, 6 o'clock. We're equipped to, if we have, because of inclement weather, if we're falling behind, if we have to make up time into twilight or even after sunset, we have the lighting and the capability to do so in order to make sure that everything's all set for the upcoming weekend.
And I think everything else, so let me share. I'll just share what I've got here. All right, so this is basically, I know it looks weird because Google Docs sort of put different fonts and stuff in there, but
Andy, can you enlarge that a little bit?
let's see. Oops. That better?
Yes, thank you.
And again, really the only thing that was changed here is this line right here. Then we can still have it provided by 4 p.m. on Friday. So basically, by 4 p.m. on Friday, Ryan, you'll know if there's anything that's going to be happening on the fields before 2 o'clock in any weekday.
Okay.
And then I think on top of that, I mean, it won't be in the contract, but I think once we can get that calendar generated, obviously giving you access to that will make things a lot better too. So.
Andy, you're going to change this the first time as well, or no?
What do you mean the first time?
The 7 to 3.
Well, I mean, I guess we could, but we wouldn't have. It doesn't mean he can't work. I mean, basically, it says Natacooks generally provide their services under the contract between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. Doesn't mean that they have to be done by 3, and but we're saying basically 2 o'clock. We're going to let you know anything that's happening before 2.
That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan, I'm sure there's going to be days that you're out there well past 3 o'clock. There are days that there's
Yeah, we hope not.
Yeah, but it'd be great to be done by noon every day and home sitting on your deck, right? But that's not how life works, unfortunately. All right, so everybody good with number 3? So
I am. Yep.
okay. So what I'll do is any changes that we want to make, I'll send to Troy to edit, and then we can send it both. Both groups can send it where we need to send it. Let's just go to the next. In the event of the town's termination for Natticook's failure to cure, Natticook shall be entitled to a payment from the town of all monies earned prior. I mean, that's shouldn't even have to be said, right? It's like, yeah, we're not going to pay you for work you did. That.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, that's. I think those were the only real.
Yeah, that was the only. That was the only.
Yeah, that was it. The only other thing was updating Ryan's. Putting in the contact information that before was just like contractor name, contractor address, blah blah blah.
Okay. All right, so I'll send that off to Troy to make that change, and then, Ryan, feel free to send it to who you need to have review it. Hopefully Troy can because I think he just gave us a PDF version. And I'll send that to him. Actually, do we want to take a vote as a commission on this as it stands? So that if legal says it's good, then we're good on our end and Troy can sign on our end?
Sure, I'll make a motion to accept the changes to the field maintenance contract as we discussed tonight.
I will second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So I did see one line that I'm not sure was part of this edit or not in the indemnification, section 6 was crossed out. I don't know if we want to review that real quick.
Let me see. And even if it caused in part by any negligent act or omission of indemnified. I mean, I guess I would want that omitted too. right? So basically, if we do something that screws something up, we can't be liable for it without that being crossed off. So if I set bear traps on Sawmill and somebody gets hurt, I can't be held liable because
Yeah.
Ryan should remove those bear traps.
And that should also be 7. You have 2 6s. Insurance is 6 and indemnification should be 7.
Oh yeah. I wonder if I can. So Chris, you okay with that cross out, or?
Yep, I wasn't sure if it was part of this change or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It wasn't in pink, so I
Right, that's why I was questioning.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. So we'll do a roll call vote.
Andy, should we nominate someone as the primary contact at this point, or should we do it afterwards?
I would do it afterwards because, I mean, that's not really part of the. Yeah.
Yep. Gotcha.
So, Mr. Ruggles,
Aye.
Mr. Ames,
Aye.
Mr. Burns,
Aye.
Mr. Bosky,
Aye.
Mr. Gannon,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So that motion carries 6-0-0. So unless Ryan's team or legal team need to make changes, we're good on our end with the contract.
Thanks for joining us, Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
Actually, before he goes, would you guys be okay with Mr. Ruggles being the point of contact liaison for communications between Natticook and the rec?
Well, I guess the bigger question is Mr. Ruggles okay with that?
Yeah, I don't mind doing that.
I mean, it's like, let's just dump the responsibility on him. It's like, hey,
Well, I've already started trying to get people's names together so I can figure out who I need to contact here.
okay. So Ryan, just so you know, so we'll go with Andy Ruggles as your primary contact, unless you hear otherwise down the road.
Good, you get to take the brunt of all my bad days. I just want to thank you all, for working with us on this and let you know that, we really do look forward to working with you for the next 9 months. So I'm hoping to attend some more of the meetings. Looking forward to in face-to-face meetings instead of the Zoom meeting format, and also looking forward to the possibility of having you guys maybe do some impromptu meetings on site throughout the season, just to see what we've got going on.
All right.
But thank you again.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.
All right. Oh, now I've zoomed in 150%. Everything's, there we go. All right. Thin ice signage is the next item of new business. So you guys also have the email from Matt. So he put up a thin ice sign for us down at Dara. Just, it's a good thing to do. And I guess he put some mesh over it so nobody could really mess with it.
Yeah, I went down today and took a look at it. It's basically just a laminated card, probably 9x11, whatever, and it just says caution, possible thin ice, and just states that we do not monitor or measure the ice for thickness. So
Yeah.
we have no legal requirements. It's just a warning.
On that, and I'll sort of tag team it. I did get an email from Matt that they wanted to do a combination meeting with us. Actually, his email says the Conservation Commission is looking to hold a joint meeting with the Recreation Commission. One matter of discussion is Parker Park. Please let us know what the will of the Recreation Commission is, and we can move forward on a date and time. So are you guys good with doing a joint meeting with the Conservation Commission?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
And I'll try, I mean, if possible, I'll try and do it during our regular meeting slot. If not, I'll work with Matt and we'll try and get the date out as
Is
early as
there
possible.
any indication of what they're looking to do? Is it just us supporting trail usage?
No, did you see there was an email the other day that went to us on the 7th about the bridge at Parker Park.
Yeah, that's Jay Brennan though.
That was from Jason.
But isn't this we're talking about? Aren't we talking? Was it? Didn't you just say Parker Park, Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what that
I
is
think that's what they
Jay,
want to probably talk about.
you think that's what they want to talk about?
Probably.
what are the odds of two different things coming up about the same piece of land? Just a wild guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those it's one of those, you know, it's one of those properties that I always thought was conservation, and Troy seems to be under the impression it's recreation area.
Yeah, if you look at the deed, and I thought I sent it out, I thought Troy sent it out. The deed specifies that for recreational purposes, the person that sold the land to the town actually wanted to have us dredge the land down there, the pond, to make it a swimming hole and build a playground was the original intent. But then that was before 3A went in, and things were just it's too hectic of an area to have a playground. But it is, it's deeded to recreation. It's not a conservation parcel.
Okay.
Which also means we're responsible for cutting the grass and maintenance.
But it's a high growth park. Right. The high grass is part of it. It's part of the experience. All right. So I'll talk to Matt, and we'll try and get something soon. And maybe we'll invite Jason to it too, and we'll sort of get everybody together. And all right. So the last item of new business is the recreational group contact list update, which Mr. Ruggles seems to be working diligently on.
I've gotten like 4 new contacts during this meeting. So yeah, it's going well. Like I said, I started a new contact list here. I'll share it. I kind of hidden a couple columns that don't want to share here. And if there's any groups that you folks know of that could help me fill in this list, I would greatly appreciate it. So I know, Peter, you said you have maybe a contact for the Girl Scouts, and I figure you probably know somebody with Christmas in Litchfield.
Yep.
I don't know who to contact for GMS or LMS. Is there an athletic director at those schools, or is it just the principal? Or
well, you're gonna have different contacts because you're gonna have the maintenance guys over there, the grounds, like the people that take care of the facilities, but you also have the athletic director. For LMS and GMS. I mean, for and Campbell, right?
Right.
Well, there's no athletic director at GMS, but and facilities is all under one person. I can send you all. I'll send you all that contact info.
Oh, that'd be great. I appreciate
it. ADs, facilities. I'll send you soccer and lacrosse too.
Oh, that'd be great.
The names.
Yeah, I just want to let these groups know that there is, I'm going to send a mass email, and I want to let them all know that they do have individual LRC email, like Gmail accounts, and maybe they've gotten lost over time. So perhaps they could, just go through and update their passwords, and that way we'll be able to contact them. Perfect for instance is with the field maintenance. If Ryan needs to you know, get the info out that he's going to be spraying a field the next day, and you know, people should try to stay off it. So I just want to have a better handle on who all the organized groups are and who runs them, I should say.
Yeah,
No, it's good to do.
And we should encourage them to use their email alias as well instead of their own personal emails. That way,
Right.
if it changes hand, people move on.
Right. Like I was
They all
saying,
should be. Like, I mean, I think for the most part they have been. So
yeah, but it's as they get new boards, they, you know, that I know like one time when basketball switched over, the president that didn't give the next incoming president the password to get in, so it was, you know, 2 or 3 months. But it also gives us the benefit of, like I was saying to Andy earlier, if there's one email that's been going to basketball for the last 5 years, they can look back and see communications 3, 4, 5 years ago. Whereas the new president comes in, if they're using their personal email, they're starting from scratch again. They have no idea.
I also want to make an effort to just put it out there to these groups that we are looking for members, and
Yeah.
maybe some of these groups would be interested in getting some participation on the board.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because I mean,
That was Andy Collins' idea. That wasn't mine.
yeah, because I mean, like I said to him, I think Mike, you and I were the last representatives from basketball that were on this commission,
yep,
and so that's been, I don't know how many years now. What, 5 years, 4 years?
4. I think 4, 4
Yeah.
or 5. Yeah.
All right, and then we have our old business field usage calendar. So Steve, I don't know if you have anything you want to say about this, if you've gotten anything started on it yet, or any ideas.
No, it's just, and like I said earlier, Andy and I have been talking about different things, and I think between the contact list and creating a field usage calendar is something we will definitely pursuing aggressively. I didn't know how many calendars we needed at this point because I guess one for each field, but
Well, I mean, the one I started doing one for Dara right when I did the one for talent.
yeah.
And the biggest issue I had was, how do you do it when, are you using a softball field, or are you using the soccer field, or, you know, so it's sort of, the other fields are a little easier because it's not, I mean, I guess Sawmills sort of falls under the same premise. But I mean, like Innisfield, there's the 8v8 field, and the I don't know what you call it, Mike, whether you call it the 4v4 field.
Yeah.
There are 2 fields, so you're using one or the other. You know, baseball, you're using one of the fields. Softball, you know, if you're using a softball field, you can't use the soccer field. You know, if you're using the softball field, you can use another softball field. So that's the one that's a little,
combinations.
yeah. So, but I mean, we can work on it and just, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect from the get-go. It will evolve over time. And then those Google calendars are nice. They're easy to embed right in the website, so people can go right on there and see it.
Yep.
All right. Any other business?
Yeah, we still need to get together as a reopening task force.
Yeah.
I still think we have some time, but it is something we probably need to think about in the near future.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the other thing that we should probably talk about, and it just dawned on me because we just got notification at Pinkerton that they're going to be doing vaccinations there this weekend. You know, that's something that we could always offer Talent Hall for. You know, it would be a great location. It's not messing up the school. And you know, with the it's not a perfect road going around it, but it does give the people the ability. So, you know, I don't know if we want to talk to the town, but obviously we wouldn't need to, you know, they could take it without us verify it, but I think that would be a good thing to use the hall for, because it's just sitting there right now. And then as soon as we can get people vaccinated, we can probably start getting back to normal. So. All right, so I guess I will make a motion to adjourn.
I will second it.
Well,
Okay, so we have a motion in 2 seconds. All right, so Mr. Ruggles. He abstains. Mr. Ames. Mr. Burns.
Aye.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. Aye.
Okay, Mr. Bosky.
aye.
Mr. Gannon.
Aye.
And I vote aye, so it carries 6-0-0. We are adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.